Hello and welcome to another edition of Outro, the show about shows, the show dealing with shows right here on the writer Albert Lanier channel. I, of course, am the writer Albert Lanier, again with a new edition of Outro. And on this new edition, we're going to be talking about my latest interview, came out today, that I did, where I was talking about the INSLAW affair and the Octopus, which I've been interviewed about on over the years, over a period of years, on I think 4 or 5 different outlets. Last year, I was on the Rodney and Melissa Evolving channel where I talked about it. Was it last year? Yeah, it was last year. Yeah. So you can check that out as well. But also check out Life with Joey Calvo. I think the episode's entitled Life with Albert Lanier, episode 2 or something like that, or 2. So check that out. So I enjoyed being on the show previously. I was on during my media tour for the awards season in the Oscars, and the Oscars just ended. You just had the Oscars this past Sunday. It's Tuesday as I do this live stream. So, excuse me. So I enjoyed coming back to Life with Joey, that podcast. But so we talked about, as I mentioned, an issue or a series of subjects that I've been interviewed about on podcasts before. And in case people aren't aware, and especially those of you who have seen the Netflix docu-series about Danny Casolaro and the INSLAW affair and Octopus, entitled American Conspiracy, The Octopus Murders, which I'm not going to mention other than that, because I have heard very bad things about that docu-series from people who have seen it, especially talk show hosts who have gotten in contact with me and told me about it. Basically, I was discussing a little about the death of Danny Casolaro, who was a freelance writer who had been either tipped off or told about a firm called INSLAW, Institute for Law and Social Research, who had come out with this case management software known as PROMIS, which is Prosecutors Management Information System. And their proprietary model, they had developed this in the public domain under the auspices of the federal government. And then they went private with INSLAW, with that firm INSLAW, and created this proprietary case management software, which was to be used in U.S. prosecutors' offices. It was like a pilot program. And so there was a contract that INSLAW had with the federal government, primarily the Department of Justice, for about $10 million. I know the magazine Wired, in a story they did many years ago, labeled it about 9.6 million, but I'll just use the 10 million figure. And so what happened was that INSLAW was paid, I think, about 1 year for about a year, over 2 million, maybe 3 million. And then they were stiffed on their contract. And what happened was that the federal government had they just pirated INSLAW. And it ended up that they were selling it to other countries. The U.S. government was, or at least not just the U.S., but other aspects were. So the U.S. government was selling it to other countries, primarily for their intelligence system. Now, I mentioned PROMIS. This was case management software that was meant to be used to basically organize index and structure files, because like any law office, you have a lot of cases, a lot of legal files, and they did that electronically, and I won't say digitally at the time. This was the early 80s. And so they were kind of behind. The DOJ was behind in this regard. There were government agencies that had their computers, had some computer systems, databases. So besides the fact that they could organize and structure these files electronically, the software could also interface with other databases, which you couldn't do back then. Because so say you had a database, the IRS, you're at DOJ, and I don't know what the state of their computers were back then. I think they were kind of behind the times. They were really behind the times, actually. They wouldn't be able to interface and have anything to do with that agency in terms of their knowledge base, their database. So that's what INSLAW could, not SLAW, but INSLAW's Promise software could do. It could interface. So not only that, but it could also essentially be used to track individuals and I guess other kinds of objects or items. And that was of interest to intelligence services which is one of the reasons that it was pirated and sold to other countries. And so what happened, and so I talk about that and the fact that INSLAW was driven into, I believe it was Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And they'd gone to bankruptcy court and they got a favorable judgment, but it was reversed on appeal. I think the U.S. Court of Appeals. And so I talk about INSLAW. I also talk about the Octopus, which was which was the name that Casolaro gave to this, because he was digging and he was looking into it. He became aware of this Octopus, which is essentially the name of this sort of group of individuals or ex-intelligence operatives, along with others that were basically running off the books operations. These included things like gun running and money laundering and all kinds of other aspects. And a kind of group or a collective like the Octopus is convenient because it allows actual intelligence agencies, government intelligence agencies, to almost subcontract it. So there were almost, to some extent, like secret subcontractors. They could kind of farm this out to this group or this collective, and they could go and be involved in all kinds of shenanigans and activities and aspects in other countries without the blowback arriving at the intelligence agency or the government. So he was looking into that and the permutations that were a part of that. So I don't want to say much further. I invite people to go and check out the episode Life with Joey. Life with Joey Calvo. You can check it out on his, I believe that's the channel, Life with Joey. I forget the channel. I think it's Life with Joey. But the Life with Joey channel. And I guess if you're in Philadelphia, in the Philadelphia area, so this episode's already out on YouTube. So you can go and check it out. Life with Joey. I believe it's Life with Joey. Life with Albert 2. Life with Albert Lanier 2. And you can check that out. Hello to those in the chat. And you can check that out. And for those who are in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, this is also slated to be on, I guess, the cable access channel there, or one of the cable access channels. It's supposed to be on there probably next month. So it's slated to be on cable access on TV next month. So again, check it out. I had a good interview, enjoyed myself, had a good time. And that's it for this episode of Outro, the show showing you what it's like to be interviewed on other shows. Bye for now, folks.